Life forms detected. Determining parameters. Initiating neural recognition.
Yes, there's the thing. Obstinate machine. I've no doubt it holds what you seek, but good luck getting it operational.
Primary neural recognition complete. Preliminary match found.
Match found? What the... It always muttered something about rejected patterns for me.
Begin socialized interface. Awaiting instruction. Greetings. This terminal has not been accessed for quite some time.
The star map appears to be sealed. The access to it is likely obtained through this interface.
Error. Subject displays unfamiliarity to environment. Behavioral reconfiguration will be needed before access. I am sorry. I did not mean to confuse you. I will answer questions to the best of my programming limitations. Accessing. Yes, I have found a star map in original system memory. Access is restricted.
Perhaps the builders set up this installation to limit access to the star maps. They did create them after all.
Data regarding author of the star map is corrupted.
The Padawan seeks to access this star map, but...
Your request requires additional security access. You must be made to match the parameters I have been supplied.
And these parameters are...
Information unavailable. If you have further questions, ask them now. Access will terminate with success or failure of evaluation.
It is difficult to match any parameters when it is unclear what these parameters are. In hopes of obtaining them, the Padawan inquires about the purpose of this installation around the star map.
Error. Corruption. Extrapolating. This utility was built to monitor planet-wide agricultural reformation. It has since malfunctioned. It can be theorized that the supergrowth of Kashyyyk forests is a direct result.
Well, that is surprising. I doubt any Wookiee would support such a claim. The forest is millennia old.
Malfunction occurred 241 years after last builder communication. Last builder communication, 29,642 years before current Republic standard.
Just like the droid on Dantooine, this interface confirms that there's been no contact with the builders for thousands of years. This installation was set up to monitor agricultural information of Kashyyyk. But why was agricultural analysis even needed in the first place?
Agricultural record indicates this planet was incapable of sustaining sufficient levels of production. Error. Specific conditions corrupted. It can be theorized that produce was being exported to support a larger demand.
The builders attempted to accelerate agricultural development of Kashyyyk for the purposes of export. However, this installation malfunctioned and no one came to repair it. This accelerated evolution, which then resulted in the massive trees Kashyyyk is so known for. It is fascinating that the creatures adapted to this growth so quickly from an evolutionary perspective.
Error. Records corrupted. It can be theorized that bioseeding allowed the ecology to remain balanced. It could be expected that the same energy feeding the trees of Kashyyyk also accelerated the evolution of various species. No further information is available. There is too much corrupted data.
This holographic interface appears quite similar to other holographic interfaces of the current time. It does not appear to be as ancient as the star map.
This interface was installed to better access the ancient data stored within the pre-existing system. The exact date is unavailable. Programming keys indicate no earlier than 5 years before current Republic standard.
5 years ago. I didn't notice it. This must have been installed in strictest secrecy. Couldn't have been circa.
No other information on time of installation or identity of user available. Likelihood of removal by user, 100%.
The creator of this holographic interface covered their tracks. Perhaps there are ways to discover this information through access records?
Sorting by identity. 3 attempts by the Wookiee Freyer, all denied. 152 attempts by human Jolee Bindo, all denied.
Call me stubborn, I guess. There wasn't much else to do around here.
Error. List of access attempts prior to these is corrupted. Likelihood of removal by user, 100%.
Surely Revan accessed the star map at one point. There must be records of him.
Error. Data regarding subject Revan corrupted.
He needed to in order to find the Starforge at one point in the past. He must be in the records somewhere.
Error. Data on Revan unavailable.
This installation was set around 5 years ago, according to recent data. What is its current purpose?
The current purpose of this installation is defense.
Defense of...
Error. That information is not available.
This leaves sufficient data to form a hypothesis. Given that the star map is locked, it is most likely that this installation is protecting it, or preventing access. Only a specific individual matching set parameters can access it. It would make sense for that person to be Revan. He passed here roughly under 5 years ago, around the time the holographic interface was installed. Fortunately, it appears the device isn't functioning optimally. The evaluation must be made to believe it is being accessed by Revan. And if the evaluation doesn't confirm this,
then you are not worthy of further access. You will be rejected as unsuitable. Access will terminate with success or failure of evaluation. Evaluation commencing. Result will be compared against the pattern in memory. Just act like you should. You travel with a Wookiee and have encountered complications. Hypothetical. You and this Zalbar are captured and separated. If you both remain silent, 1 year in prison for each of you. However, call Zalbar a traitor, and he will serve 5 years, while you serve none. He is offered the same deal. But if you both accuse the other, you both serve 2 years. What do? What do you trust him to do?
peculiar that this installation is familiar with Zalbar.
I hear what happens on Kashyyyk, and a good deal beyond. Answer the question I have posed.
It is important to answer the way Revan would. Revan was a master strategist, so he would answer such a question with a solution that is most optimal for the final result. Thus, the best individual outcome for Revan would be to betray his companion and lower the risk factor.
The temperament of a companion is unreliable at best. You wisely trade the threat of 1 year or 5 for none or 2.
This machine certainly seems to want a very specific type of response.
I judge the answer correct. You display the proper behavior to match the pattern in memory. Evaluation will continue. Hypothetical. You are at war, deciphering an intercepted code. You learn 2 things about your enemy. A single spot in their defense will be at its weakest in 10 days, and they will attack one of your cities in 5 days. What do you do with this information? What is the most efficient course of action?
Evacuation would save more lives. There's enough time to escape danger and get the people to safety. But Revan wouldn't think that way. Evacuation would only delay a conflict, and a potential advantage over the enemy would be lost. Revan would weather the storm and let thousands die in order to exploit the weakness of the enemy and achieve victory.
Very good. If you had moved to evacuate the city, you would have alerted the enemy to their lost codes. Ultimate victory required the deaths of the people in that city. You wisely ignored sentiment in your decision.
The Padawan shares this logic, claiming that short-term sacrifices had to be made to end the war and save as many people as possible in the long term.
You achieved the proper result with logic that does not match the pattern in memory. I shall adjust my evaluation. Hypothetical. Remove the ongoing war from the previous example. Consider enemy states to be weak and remote. With no external threat, your empire stagnates. Your people become complacent and begin to question you. Same scenario as before. You discover an impending attack, but also a weakness that will come after. How do you react?
Logic dictates the answer will be different this time, since the question is identical as before, but there is no threat. One must identify that factor, the hidden threat. If the enemy is weak, the enemy is not the threat. So where is it? In a state with no external threats, whose people are coddled and do not trust its authority, the only enemy left would be the people who do not trust the ruler's authority. So if this ruler were Darth Revan, how would he ensure that his people obey and rally under his command? He applies pressure. He lets the weakling enemy invade.
Of course you do. It makes the most strategic sense. Your people will rally beneath you against the common foe. As their eyes turn outward, your rule will strengthen. The trappings of war grant many opportunities. You have matched the pattern in memory. I recognize you and will fulfill my designated function. Soon you will recognize the proper course to follow. The Star Map is yours. This unit has now completed its primary duty and has finished with the subject. Executing final action. Activation of Star Map commencing. Parameters reset. Stasis initiated. End communication.
Well, well, a star map. An ancient artifact of dark side power. I wonder if the star map has had an effect on the evolution of the creatures here in the Shadowlands. Might explain why it's so dangerous down here. An interesting theory, but I suppose we don't have time to test it now, do we? Now that we've got what you came for, we should be heading back up to the treetops.